Okay, pushing, please.
No, I'm kidding. I mean, it's warm, but then it's also kind of pushing in that some of the articles were so interesting that I did not want to. And so I did get sidetracked, and so I didn't get everything done. And so I think that might have been the time issue where we only had 40 minutes instead of 45, which, I mean, 5 minutes can make a huge difference when it comes to some of that stuff. It's amazing looking back now as a teacher and saying, wow, 5 minutes is huge. No wonder teachers are upset at 2-hour delays when they have 10 minutes cut off of their class periods or 20 minutes. I just think that cutting down to like the Boston source, like that one, it was 2 pages, and there was so much there that I could just kept reading, like, and so see big names and see stuff like that. And so, like, I think even
middle section.
Yeah, there's a huge middle page. Like, just taking that second page, taking that second page off, and then maybe even trim some of the sides down, and
or highlight it.
or like cut out just certain sections that you want us to read or anything like that to kind of pull out. And that might just be a time thing for now, but like it was just one of those things that was just so overwhelming to look at that page and think, I want to try to get as much as I can out of this, and then only have like 3 minutes probably per source. So
that's a lot. When you said 17 sources,
oh yeah.
It was like,
holy crap!
Even breaking it up, it's like you know, as we were sharing a little bit, I was like,
we didn't hear from yours.
I wanted to read what Brandon had.
So maybe
Write something down and that to react to that. And if you've got ideas, because that's when you went 17, I was like,
I think the major thing is to pare down, pick out. I mean, I like the variety of sources, but there were a lot of text-heavy sources, especially articles, things like that. And it was frustrating because one of the articles I was reading, I couldn't find a date, so I didn't know. Contextualizing it was pretty important for this activity because there was all these different dates before and after and around, and being able to place at least this one in that context. I think the thing that I missed the most was I'm going through, I'm getting to inferring and monitoring a question, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to remember exactly what I'm expected to do with monitoring. And you modeled it well when we were doing the group think aloud, we can think, we can call it. But maybe having that cheat sheet of this is what some of the questions to think about to kind of go along for some of the students who may not remember all the steps, and that one word may not be enough of a help to get them to get through
Other Ginny, what is it? Pushing?
pushing.
Thank you. Other pushing feedback, please.
I just might have not been paying attention or missed it, but I would have liked more of once you modeled the cartoon really well, and I knew what we were going to be focusing on, but then you were like kind of like look at the sources, and I kind of missed the big picture almost for a second on what I was trying to figure out, and I think maybe I got stuck on the fact of when we did that murder case or something, and there was like a big thing that we were trying to move towards, and I guess I just kind of missed what I was like trying to get to.
And it wasn't a murder.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm joking. So, but I think I felt the same way in a little bit, because I liked what Curtis said with regard to we are focusing on the skills. We are focusing on what historians do. But then I often worry about this dichotomy between content and skills, and it's just been set up arbitrarily. And I thought, if we'd have had a question of where we're actually going, which is why I asked about your clarifying question, like what would be the point of what we were looking at here as well, I think it would have zoned us in to kind of start going a little bit ballistically with the sources, rather than, because it's so, I love going through, I was like enjoying it myself. You go through sources like, oh cool, oh wow, ooh, and then things percolate. But historians do go in with, a goal of trying to learn about something with regard to something, and I think that just pulled away, and I think at one point it was the idea of like, here's the timeline, and you mentioned this at the end, here's the timeline, here's something that's not really mentioned in your textbook, and we're going to then use that to get a feel for one aspect of race relations, the cause and effect, or the social and cultural, and how people react to one event that we can bring back to, we can kind of link with the 20th century, but I want you to focus on this event and tell us a little bit about it and how people reacted, and how does that kind of fit with this big picture we've seen about, you know, something like that, because I felt like at the end when you started trying to pull it together, but I needed that up front to kind of feel what we were doing and why we were doing it, because otherwise we all play good students, where we're trying to grab on to something that you want us to do, rather than students who are like, holy crap. Plus when you then go 17, you know, everybody's going, okay, brace yourselves. And, you know, that's what the good students do. The other students go, holy crap. And if that. So I think there's that balance, just giving us what the content was and how to layer it in. It was there, but it didn't come in where I thought it was, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I definitely got there, and I got there too with the more of the activities of the sequencing, and then when you told us to start talking about it and putting them in order,
loved it.
That's when it was really clicking. But like the whole beginning of the thing, I was obviously doing CMC and was really interested, but I just kind of didn't share. But I definitely, you got us there.
And my big question always as well is, with sources, with time, hey Brandon, if we had 45 minutes, we still wouldn't have enough time. If we had 3 days, we wouldn't have enough. For everything we do, we always have enough time. So it's like, how can it be time efficient, get that engagement, get that kind of resonance where somebody's excited about it, but then how am I going to have to break this up and what I'm going to have to let go? And I do like the idea of sometimes being brutal with the sources. I would say with the sources as well, like Jeff said, on the back of it, New York Times, October 19th, 1901, something like that. So just even giving that as a background so we know which papers they come from. But the idea of like, I may have to, each person might only get, we have 17, and I might have to find a way of sectioning them so Curtis and Margaret get just like a series to get started or something like that. But each of the series builds the same story, or similar to the same story, because it's like, well, I want them to have everything, but they're not going to get everything in reading everything, so I may just have to pick slices that each group could get, and then see how the stories are similar or different based on the sources that we have at hand, that they find. I don't know, but that timing thing can always be a bit scary, and it can also be a nice way of differentiating if you just select which ones people get.